Okay, here we go with sections 5.7 and the study guide and checkup. Let's go take a peek at what we're doing today. So in 10 words or fewer, define the circumference of a circle. So it starts with a little review here, and then it's going to go into our new big idea. So circumference of a circle, as you probably know, is your distance around a circle. And another way some people like to think of it is the perimeter of a circle. Okay, so what are these circle formulas we're supposed to remember from before? So C equals 2 pi r is our circumference formula. Again, hoping you've seen this in middle school or Math 1. C equals the circumference, or the distance around. R stands for the radius of the circle, and pi, as you guys know, is about 3.14. So now that we have all these parts, here's how the formula goes. So C equals 2 pi r. Remember that the diameter is 2 of the radiuses. And so for the formula that you can infer, we could also say that it's just pi times the diameter, since the diameter is equal to 2 r's. Okay. So what is the circumference of this circle? All we're doing is plugging in this radius of 5.8 that was given to us, 2 pi r. So our radius is 5.8. And then you're going to grab a calculator and do 2 times pi. Now you can use the pi button, or you can just put in 3.14. And the circumference comes out to 36.424. So we're going to say that the circumference is approximately, see the next line with that approximation, round to the nearest hundredth is 36.42. There's our approximation. Now you're also going to have to get used to saying your answers in terms of pi. And so, for example, up here where there's a 5.8 times 2 times pi, you know how 5.8 times 2, just if we did that multiply, would be 11.6. And then the pi we can leave in terms of pi. So there are two possible answers here. We could say that it's approximately 36.42, or 11.6 pi would be an exact answer. And this answer over here is an approximate answer. So keep in mind that we're going to be doing answers in both ways, in terms of pi and an approximated answer. All right, now we're going to do a quick word problem. We're going to try to figure out how much longer the road will be after it's raised 50 feet. So the old road and the new road are both circles that go around the world. The new road's radius will be 50 feet longer than the old road's radius. So we can compare the distance around two circles. And so you can use the circumference formula to solve it. So the old road is the circumference of the old road, and the new road is going to be the circumference of the new road. The radius of the old, and then we've got the radius of the new. So we're going to subtract the new minus the old, or take the difference in the lengths. And we're going to group the terms here to notice that what we've got in common in the 2 pi r is the 2 pi. So the c of the new minus the c of the old equals 2 pi. And then r of the old, or radius of the old, is going to be 50, right? More. And so if we simplify, we get 2 pi times that 50, or 100 pi. So summarizing, the Magellan Global Highway will be about 314 feet longer. That's 100 times pi is going to be approximately 314 feet longer after it's raised off the ground. Okay, so just a quick review there of circumference. And now we're going to talk about the big idea. We're going to talk about taking an area of just a small part of that whole circumference, the arc length. So this is the distance around part of a circle. Or a partial perimeter. So if the arc covers half of the circle, the circumference of a circle equals 20 centimeters. Then we know, like let's say this whole thing was 20. And we know that the arc covers half of that circle. So the arc length would be half of the 20 centimeters, or 10 centimeters, right? If this whole thing is 20, then half of that would be 10. So what if the arc covers a quarter of the circle? We would take a quarter. Oh, sorry, this one, they changed it up to 32 centimeters. And so a quarter of the 32 is going to come out to 8. Okay, to find an arc length, we're basically finding a portion or a fraction of a whole circle's circumference or perimeter. So here comes the actual big idea formula. It's going to be a fraction of the circle covered by that arc. So it's going to be 2 pi r, which is the circumference. So we're seeing that part we're already used to right here. Here's our circumference, but we only want a fraction of it. Part of the whole circumference. Okay? So this is going to be equal to the measure of the central angle that intercepts it, and it's measured in degrees. Those are our units for the measure of an arc. But the length of an arc, this is our new big idea, is equal to the fraction of the circle that it covers multiplying by the circle's circumference. using that new formula, in other words. And the measured units of length. So we're going to go back to U for units. We're going to talk about inches, feet, whatever the length units that are given to us. All right, how to use this arc length formula. So notice we're going to need the circumference, the entire circumference. And in this case, the radius is 4. Do you see it right here? So here it is, 2 pi r. This gives us the whole circumference, but we don't want the entire circumference. We only want 1/6 of it, a part of it. So if we want to get part of it, what exact part? It's 60 out of 360, or 1/6 of it. So now we do this in our calculators, 60 over 360 times the 2 pi r, or we simplified it, 1/6 times the 25.12 is approximately 4.19. So type that into your calculator so that you know you're getting it right. Type in 60 over 360 times 2 times pi times the radius, or you can type the simplified version of 1/6 times 25.12. But type that into a calculator so you can see that you definitely know how to get this. Now remember, we're not only going to be giving the answers in an approximation, but we're going to give an exact answer in terms of pi. So up here, if it's 2 pi r, 2 times 4 times pi would be 8 pi. And then it's 60 over 360 times that 8 pi. And so that's going to give us 480 pi over 360. And then we can reduce this down, right? The tens or the zeros cross out. And then 12 goes into 48 4 times. And 12 goes into 36 3 times. So 4 pi over 3 would be the length of minor arc AB. That's your exact answer. Or 4.19 is the approximate answer. So we're going to give these answers in terms of pi and in terms of the approximate answer. Okay, let's go do some of the practices here. And so we're looking that right here at the top, they gave us these handy dandy formulas. So we've got the circumference formula, but what's our new big idea? Our arc length formula is a fraction of the whole circumference, right? So let's go practice using this formula. So by the way, first they just start with, practice of circumference before they get into the new big idea. So here we go. All we're using to start is the 2 pi r. I'd like to give your answer in terms of pi and in terms and an approximate answer using the 3.14. So plug in your radius. Notice 2 times the 12.4 is going to give us 24.8 pi. There's my exact answer, 24.8 pi. But then if you take a calculator and multiply that, we're going to get that C is approximately 77.87. And so I want you to give both an exact and an approximate answer if you can. The SAT will sometimes ask you for things in terms of pi, so we want to be prepared. All right, here comes our next one, just the circumference, 2 pi r. And in this case, our radius is 4. So our exact answer would just be 8 pi. And then our rounded answer, our approximate answer, is 25.12. So here we want the equals for the exact answer, and here we want the approximation. Okay, now this time, notice they gave us a diameter. So we're going to go pi times diameter instead of 2 radiuses for this one. So in terms of pi, our exact answer is just 10 pi. And then once you type in the 3.14, that's going to give us approximately, actually this one we don't even need to round. Oh yes, we do, sorry. Approximately 31.4. Why am I rounding? Because 3.14 is not the exact pi, right? You know how pi goes on? 3.14, 13, blah, 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 everything. So that's why we have to do a rounded answer anytime we use pi. Okay, so that's just checking your circumference skills. Now the circumference of the circle below is 20. What is the length of the minor arc? So now they're just wanting a part. This is the new big idea. So here I go, measure of length of AB is equal, hang on, the length of the arc is equal to the measure of the arc over 360, so part of the whole circle times the circumference formula. This is the formula we're going to start with every time. So this time, do you see that the measure of my arc is 95 over 360 times 2 pi. Now, by the way, they told us the circumference is 20. So this time, instead of doing 2 pi r, I can actually just put straight in the circumference of 20. So 95 over 360, that's my part. That's just this part right here, times the whole circumference. It's part of the whole circumference, and that, if you put into a calculator, is going to come out to approximately 5.28 centimeters. So go multiply that in your calculator just to make sure you got it. Okay, the next one, the length of AB is equal to the measure of minor arc AB times 2 pi r. And this time we're looking where they did also give us the circumference of the whole circle. So the measure of AB is 15 out of the full 360 times 33 is the circumference right here. And so go ahead and multiply that in your calculator, and hopefully you got approximately 1.38 centimeters. How'd you do? All right, last one. Let's go grab our final color. The length of AB is equal to part of the whole circumference times 2 pi r. Remember how we write the full formula every time. And so this time it's going to be 129 out of 360. That's my part. Times, they're telling us that the circumference this time, see how it got cut off, you guys, is 55. And so if you put that into your calculator, hopefully you get 19.7 centimeters. All right, now we're going full minor arc formula. Length of AB is equal to the measure of AB times 2 pi r. This time it's 170 out of the 360 times 2 times pi times the radius of 8. Do you see it that time? So 170 over 360 times 16 pi. And so 16 times 170 is 2720 pi over 360. And obviously these zeros cross out. And let's see, can 12 go into 272? No. I'm seeing what divides into 36 right now. Let's try 6. No. Okay, so it looks like it's just going to be 4 dividing by 40. So 2720 divided by 40 gives us 68. And then 360 divided by 40 gives us 9. And so here's my pi answer, 68 pi over 9. And then you go get me the approximate answer, please. And we're getting, so do 68 times pi over 9. We're going to get approximately, actually I'll put it up here. We're going to say approximately 23.72 centimeters. So you're going to get the exact answer, 68 pi over 9, and you're going to get me the approximate answer. Okay, pause the video and go try number 8, doing this full thing on your own, and let's see how you do. Length of AB is equal to the measure of the arc over 360, our part of the whole. So this time it's 45 out of 360 times 2 times pi times the radius. So 45 over 360 times 24 pi. 45 times 24 is 1080 pi over 360. So the zeros cross out, and let's see what goes into 108. 60 goes in. 18 pi over 6. And so it actually just works out to 3 pi. I hope your reducing skills are doing good for you right now. And so 3 times pi is coming out to approximately 9.42. And this one is also, I think, centimeters. Yep. Okay, so that one was way up from the top. Notice we're giving the pi exact answer and we're giving the approximation. Okay, looking at last two, number 9. The length of the minor arc is 10. So they're actually giving us the 10. They're giving us the output. What's the whole circumference? So 30 out of 360, that part, they're already telling us is equal to 10. So times the whole circumference, which we're trying to find, is equal to 10. So let's multiply both sides by 360. And that's going to give me 3,600 is equal to 30C. Divide both sides by 30. We get that the 3,600, grab your calculators, that's what I'm doing. Divided by 30 gives us 120. So the whole circumference is equal to 120, and does it tell us centimeters? Okay, pause the video and try the last one. Same thing as we just did on number 9. So if it says that the length of the minor arc is 110, what is the circumference? By the way, that got cut off again. What is the circumference? So we know that 110 out of 360, the length of AB minor arc is, sorry guys, that's not, I'm just looking on mine real quick because it looks like that got cut off. Hang on. 24 is the number that got cut off. What is the circumference of circle C when the length is 24? So you need that piece in order to do this. Okay, so if the whole length is 24, 110 out of 360 times the circumference is equal to 24. So same 2 steps we just did over here, where we're going to multiply both sides times 360. in order to get rid of this denominator, and then we're going to divide by 110. So first 360 times 24 is 8640 divided by 110. I'm getting 78.55 as the approximate circumference. And that is again centimeters. Man, they really like centimeters on this one. All right, how did you do? So this is regular circumference, you should remember from maybe middle school. And then our new big idea after reviewing that is doing a part of the whole circumference. That's the Math 2 standard, okay? Sorry, a couple of those numbers got cut off.